What is going on, you guys? My name is Dylan, aka the WW2 Model Guy. Today's video is basically my first ever haul video. So I'm going to show you kits that I bought on Amazon and eBay to help with my project of the North African campaign. I've also bought one extra kit, which I think it looks really cool by Airfix. So enjoy. As I said in the intro, these kits are mainly from Amazon and eBay, and I bought them at really good prices. Just before I start this video, I just want to say that most of the kits are from Airfix and one is from Mirage Hobby. So, huge shout out to Airfix and Mirage Hobby. And two companies I ordered from for a few kits was the Cheltenham Model Centre and In and Out Distributions. They sent me one of the kits, and it was actually really good delivery. So huge shout out to In and Out Distribution in Austria and the Cheltenham Model Centre. So thank you. Okay, so the first kit I'm going to show you is the extra kit, just to get it out of the way. This is basically a side project that I'm doing. It's called the Battle of Britain. And so I basically bought this Airfix BF109E4 from the Cheltenham Model Centre's page on eBay. This was about £7.25 and free delivery. This is basically the rebox of the Airfix BF109E4 from a couple of years ago, actually. I think it was, I'm not sure, it's either 2013 or 2014, because I remember getting the old BF109E4 kit on Christmas, but I actually forgot when, though. But yeah, this is just the rebox of the old pre BF109E4, and also this has the same components as the BF109E3 starter sets, which I actually got a couple of years ago. So yeah, I actually don't mind if it's the same components. It's just I'm going to paint it my own way. The reason why I bought this was because my Luftwaffe for my Battle of Britain project was really low. I didn't have that many aircraft. I only have a BF110. Heinkel 111, Ju-87 Stuka. What else do I have? BF109E3. Anadornia Do-17Z bomber. But yeah, I needed a BF109 as fighter cover because I've got like a ton of Spitfires, Hurricanes, and the Bolt and Paul Defiant. So yeah. You've got your Airfix paints on the bottom, which are basically Humbrol enamels. Where, to be honest, it's hard to find Humbrol 240, RLM02 Macro, 241 and 242 because they're like Luftwaffe colors. So I'm basically going to paint it as with the paints I've already got. Like I'm not sure what paints, but I'm gonna mix it just to see if it will turn into the right color. So yeah. These yellow stripes here, I'm not going to include them or that. I'm just going to put it on the nose or on the rudder here, on the tail rudder, because I did some reference photos, which is on the screen right now, and a stereotypical BF109E4 has a yellow nose and a yellow tail. So I'm going to definitely paint it as that. Note that all the reference photos that I have on the screen and for all the upcoming upcoming screen pages are not mine. These are basically copied and pasted from Google, so I don't want no copyright stuff and hassle on that. Alright, now we're going to the main project now, and I decided to buy something a bit retro, something that I think will help the collection of the North African campaign, and it's this retro Airfix 1/72nd scale Blenheim Mark IV bomber in the 1/72nd scale. This is a Series 2 kit that Airfix released, I think, in the 70s. Not sure though, but it actually has a really sick box art, and they've actually redid the box art, I think, recently in 2017 when they released a modified Blenheim Mark IV bomber. The reason why I bought this kit was because I saw some inspiration on Google of a desert Blenheim bomber, which is stationed in North Africa, ADV, which is in a reference photo down below in black and white. of a pilot standing looking into one of the Browning machine guns. I mean, one of the, I think it was either Vickers or Browning machine gun that was in the turrets here. So yeah, the box art, it looks definitely 70s, and nothing on the back, but on the top here you've got images. You got some other kits of 1/72nd scale Series 2 kits of the Arado AR-196 seaplane that the Germans used in the Battle of the Atlantic, and also a Hawker Sea Fury. I think, yeah, no, it's a Fairey Firefly. It's a Fairey Firefly. That's also another Series 2 kit. So yeah, there's another kit here of another Series 2 kit, which is the Douglas Dauntless kit. That's in 1/72nd scale kit, 1/72nd scale there as well. Also, there's some extra things that that Airfix has recommended for this kit to make it to get the best results out of the kit. So I think it's basically got some it's got all the paints that you need, some adhesives and glues there, but I'm not sure what they were called, but nowadays they refer it to like Humble 30, Humble this, Humble that, but yeah. So after looking at reference photos on Google and online of a Desert Blenheim bomber stationed in North Africa, it normally had the typical RAF desert scheme of mid-stone, dark earth and azure blue, but sometimes some aircrafts have the underside, which is light blue. So I'm going to paint it as this, as light blue here, azure blue and dark brown, which is basically how I painted my Rebel Hawker Hurricane Mark II-C. When I looked inside the box, I was actually really surprised about what was inside. The problem was the decals had yellowed as oxygen has entered the decals. But when I experimented with one of the spare decals that the kit had, there's two types of decals. One which is a Free French Squadron, and the second one is an RAF Squadron. I'm using the RAF decals. But yeah, I cut out one of the roundels for the Free French Squadron and applied it on an old aircraft just to experiment. So I first put gloss varnish first, then I put the decal, let it stick to the gloss varnished area, and then I applied another layer of gloss varnish, and it actually looks really okay. There's less yellow when you do that method, so I think that's a good method personally. But yeah, nothing much. The kit was basic. Another thing that was in this box was also the fact that I had a stand with it. So I was actually really surprised, and considering this is an old Airfix kit, obviously they're gonna have a stand with it. So I'm probably gonna use that stand for like some of my aircrafts for my North African campaign, for Warlord bolt action. Like I don't have the parts or models for Warlord bolt action. My figures and my tanks, they're all 1/72nd scale. So yeah, I'll just use that for some of my Spitfires and Hurricanes, etc. Yeah. All the plastics are of a light blue, like a typical old Airfix kit. So yeah, it was actually it's really okay. It's even though it's about odd 50 to 60 years old, it's actually okay. Okay, so now it's another kit. This time it's a tank kit, and this is the first time I've ever built, or I'm going to build, a Mirage Hobby kit. So here we go. This I think was a bit overpriced, because this was about, I think, £20, £21 plus £4.99 delivery on Amazon from In-N-Out Distributions. And this is the Mirage Hobby 1/72nd scale M3 Grant Mark 1 tank. The reason why I bought this kit was because I was going to buy the Hasegawa kit as well as the Crusader kit, but unfortunately they sold out in the last minute, and so I decided to buy this kit because I had it saved in my basket, and rightly so. I looked inside the box and it was extremely detailed. You even get photo etched parts. You even get like a small booklet explaining what all the symbols of the tanks. So like the O, where if I get close up to this O, it'll show what it is. So you got A. So the triangle's Able, O is Bravo, no Baker, and then you got C for Charlie. I forgot what symbol C for Charlie was, but you even get senior regiment and headquarter. So the headquarters, the regiment. So I think this is the senior regiment O. I think O is senior regiments. Yeah. It has a really nice box art of this M3 Grant moving through North Africa. With this, so it's got the insignia of the 7th Armored Division. So yeah, I need to increase my 7th Armored Division platoons, and yeah. You even get a cover for the gun, which is extremely detailed, because any other M3 Grant kit I found online, it never had this, so it was absolutely detailed. Personally, I think this is more detailed than the Hasegawa kit, and although it was a bit pricey, about £21 on Amazon from In-N-Out Distributions, I think once you build it, it's kind of worth it, because you've bought a kit which has a lot of detail, and personally it's worth it. What else can I say? I'm probably gonna paint it in the scheme of a Flames of War M3 Grant that I found online, which is basically going to be an ochre color, and then it's going to have some dark green pattern all over it. But a lot of people have painted this in just a regular desert scheme, and also in a just a regular desert scheme, or with a bit of brown pattern all over it. But I'm going in with the with the ochre and green scheme. Okay, now going back to another retro kit, and this time I decided to get my hands on a Airfix 176 scale Weissler FI 156 Storch. This is so as I mentioned, this is in 1/76 scale, and this is from the Airfix Vintage Classic range. So if anyone doesn't know, didn't already know, Airfix created the Vintage Classic range, which was introduced in 2019, where they gathered all the old Airfix figurines, planes, and tanks, and made it as new sets for about for the same retail price as it was back then. So back then it would be I'm not sure how much it would be back then, but it's now it's around $5.99 now, which is, I think, a really good price for a kit like this. It's basically the same price for, like, what is it, like the Brain Carrier and the 25-pounder field gun and quad. So I think this is a really nice kit. I was considering to buy it last year, but I was doing a different project back then. So I said, all right, I'm going to buy the Weissler Storch, and now I managed to get my hands on it, and it's a really nice kit. The reason why I bought this kit was because I was lacking some planes for my Luftwaffe collection in the desert, and because I have an Erwin Rommel figure from an old Matchbox 176 scale Africa Corps, which I painted up, I think this would go really well with him. I'm going to paint it as the Erwin Rommel Weissler Storch. So yeah, the Weissler... Oh, I forgot to mention about the history. So the Weissler Storch is basically a German reconnaissance and transport plane used by... it's a transport plane used by senior or high-ranked officers in the German army. So, like, for example, Erwin Rommel, etc. Also, this plane was part of a prison escape with Benito Mussolini, the Italian dictator. I'm not sure if I'm right on that, but I think it was part of some prison escape. I saw in some article I read a couple of weeks ago, but yeah. There's two types of schemes you could go for. You could go for the Eastern Front scheme or the North Africa scheme. I'm going for the North Africa scheme. However, I'm going to make some alterations. So I'm going to paint it as German desert. What is it? German desert brown, I think. What's the color? Sandgelb. I'm going to paint it sandgelb, and then I'm gonna put some dark green pattern all over it. It's suggested to have a dark green pattern. I'm also going to include a white rudder because Owen Rommel had a white ruddered Feisler FI156 Storch, and also there was some white insignia on white tail paint underneath here, so I'm gonna paint that as well. I might actually do a review of this this kit. So yeah, this kit came out in 1967. So if I do a close up, if it can, well, you can partially read it. It basically says it's from 1967. So I think it's, even though it's a really old kit, I'm not sure if it'll have any fit issues. I know a couple of people had fit issues back there. Like a few people who built this already had a few fit issues, but I doubt I'll have some. The kit also comes with 2 figures, one officer and one pilot, which I think is a really nice touch for Airfix. Even though there's not that much cockpit detail, I think including figures would really make this kit worth the price. Okay, so I decided to buy another kit, and this time it's another vintage classic kit, and it's the Stug 3 75mm assault gun. I already built this kit before, and it was a really nice kit. Even though the aerials here were a bit oversized, but I didn't mind. It was actually a nice touch. Just like the Feisler Storch, this was built 4 years earlier. This had the molding in 1963. I don't mind if it's old, but it's at a really good price. So this was about $5.99 on Amazon, and it was actually a really good bargain compared to all the other Stug tanks I found for about $9.99. You get like two kits, but I don't see the point of having 2 Stugs. So yeah, you got the paint scheme on the back, which is basically let's see, it doesn't give you any information, but it's just got all the paint scheme. That's it. Only 2 paints are needed for that: Humbrol 94 brown yellow and Humbrol 53 gunmetal. Is it? Yeah, gunmetal. Yeah, but I'm gonna paint it like this for the desert campaign. This muzzler here, I'm gonna paint it black because, oh yeah, it's already painted black, so there's no point. But yeah, just to add a bit of detail. Also the gun shield, I'm gonna have it raised because it's compulsory to have. So if you look at the front here, the gun shield here is already been raised. However, there's no MG or machine gun. So I dug around in my spares box, and I found a spare MG 42, I think, MG 42. And so I'm just going to stick it there, and yeah, we'll actually add a bit of detail onto the kit. So yeah, the kit, from what I experienced from the last time I painted this in the dark grey, it was really detailed, and there was only a bit of flash. But apart from that, it was actually a really sick kit to do and a really good evening build. Okay, now yet again another vintage classic range, and this time a very, very, very cheap price to buy for this. And this is the Airfix Africa Core. So this is in 1/76 scale, like all vintage classic range kit. The reason why I bought this was because I wanted to expand my Africa Core and 8th Army sets. So I decided to pick up this one for about $4.99 on Amazon, which was, I think, really, really cheap. And it was actually far cheaper than the Italeri Africa Core, which was about 10 quid for the same amount of figures. So yeah, you've got all the contents of what the figures look like, and it's basically 48 figurines, which is unpainted. So I've already got the paint, so I'll just paint it on and using some reference photos. The best thing about this kit was because there's one commander, and you can see a picture of that commander, of a commander I found from, I think, a fan page I found of Africa Corps soldiers. So I'm gonna paint him like that on that side. So yeah, grey cap, ochre uniform, brown belt, etc. So, and the goggles they had. So yeah, I'll try and make it as detailed as possible. one thing I found out about this kit was that it's really, really detailed. So, but the plastic is a bit rubbery or soft. But apart from that, it's actually really, really good. These figurines for $4.99, it's actually at a really good price. So the color scheme for these Africa Core, I'm gonna paint them Humble 103 cream color as the shirt, and then ochre shorts or trousers, Humble 61 flesh, and then I think brown for their shoes, because either brown or Humble 29 or no Humble 26, 20 or 29. Doesn't matter, but the last time I did Africa Core figures, I painted Humble 33 for their shoes, but I might do Humble 33 as well, for the shoes as well. So yeah, you get a range of riflemen, soldiers throwing grenades. You got riflemen, machine gunners, soldiers firing MP40s, and yeah. Okay, now we're going to take a break from the Vintage Classics range, and this time I bought something that will really aid, like, the SAS in the desert. So, I bought this Airfix MB Jeep, Willys MB Jeep. This is in 1:72 scale, and Airfix released this, like, as a starter set and also as a D-Day range. The reason why I bought this was because, when I previously built this Jeep, I painted it as the airborne version. It was really detailed. Even though it was a small kit, it was really, really nice. The kit range is about £7.99, which is, I think, a bit expensive for this kind of Jeep. And it also comes with an SAS Desert version, which you have the Vickers machine guns, as well as a couple of Browning machine guns, so a heavy Browning and a medium Browning machine gun. So I think that's really nice. So I basically got some spares in my box of, like, storage boxes, a Vickers machine gun, which I'm going to place where the driver's sitting. The passenger's going to have a Browning machine gun, and also on the back I'm going to have, there's also Vickers machine guns included. I'm going to have it positioned that way. It also comes with a storage box, as well as a what is it called? A 75mm howitzer. I'm not going to include the howitzer in my desert collection, but I will include it in my British Airborne artillery pieces. So yeah, nothing on the back, but basically all the images of different types. You've got the American version and the British version. I'm not going to include any decals because it's going to be a British SAS Jeep in the desert. So no airborne, just SAS Jeep. The paint scheme, I'm just going to paint it as I'm painting it through Humble 103 cream, just all over it. And yeah, the guns I'm going to paint it Humble 33, and the storage boxes I'm going to paint it Humble 29, because that's what I've seen in reference photos. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The kit doesn't include figures, unfortunately, but I'm going to include a figure that I custom made, which was an old Airfix RAF pilot, or an old Airfix pilot, which I converted as a SAS vehicle rider in the North African campaign. So yeah, I'll probably do a review of this as well, with many other kits. Okay, back to another Airfix Vintage Classic range. This time I bought another Bren carrier and 6-pounder anti-tank gun. The reason why I bought this was because I needed some artillery for my British in the North African campaign, and I looked through some reference photos and found that the Bren carrier was significantly used in the North African campaign by the Canadians. So I decided, yeah, I'll buy one from Airfix. This was about $5.99 on Amazon, and I think it was a really nice set. And even though it contains 4 soldiers, it would actually look really nice in a diorama. I've already previously built this kit last year, and I found it like I found it so detailed, even though this was a kit from, when was it, 1966, and it was reboxed many times. This is kind of worth it. The gun looks really detailed, and it was significant. And the 6-pounder gun was significantly used in the North African campaign. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Some reference photos that I saw, there was a Bren gun. There was a Bren gun pointing upwards. But so one of the stands for the Browning machine gun that I'm going to use is going to be from the Willys MB Jeep. Will be used as a pod for the Bren machine gun, and yeah, it will actually look really nice. As usual for $5.99 sets, there's also going to be a paint scheme for the what's it called, for the European version. I'm just going to take the Highland Division sticker and the number 56, so I think it's the senior regiment. Not sure though, but I'm going to take those and use it as the insignia for the squadron, for the platoon or division. Okay, now we're going for another box of 48 figures, and I figured if you have the Africa Corps, you can't have the Africa Corps without the 8th Army. That's right. So I basically bought this. It was basically the same price as the Africa Corps figurines, and so I said, all right, because we bought the Africa Corps, I have to buy the 8th Army. So I found it for about $4.99 on Amazon, and it was at a really good price, and it has the same amount of figures as the Africa Corps. It has around 48 to 49 figures. Wait, let me check. Yeah, it's only got one extra figure. But personally, it's kind of worth it because they are really detailed and they're really cheaper than the Italeri, Italeri / old Esky 8th Army figurines, where you only get 2 soldiers like this with the caps, or 2 sergeants, I'm not sure, but yeah. Well, the reason why I bought this was because I already bought some Airfix 176 scale Gurkha figurines, which I painted in their desert uniform, and so I wanted to buy some 8th Army figures because they'd go well with the Gurkhas and also the Africa Corps, and plus I've got a ton of Airfix Vintage Classic and Airfix planes, so it will actually go well as a sort of big set or for my project. And yeah, it looks really, really nice. So as I said, the kit comes with 49 figures, and you get all different soldiers with it. So you get one sergeant with it, which I actually don't mind, because the Gurkhas, they already had a sergeant with a Webley revolver. So yeah, we have a sergeant here who has a Webley revolver. Another thing that surprised me was that there was a mine detector soldier, so a minesweeping soldier with a metal detector. So you get about 3 of them, which is pretty cool. And plus they'd help in in Warlord bolt action. Oh, sorry about that. You get a couple of soldiers with the Thompson submachine gun. You get a soldier running with a Sten machine gun. To be honest, I really wish they had some soldiers with Sten machine guns in the mixed variant. But yeah, we have a soldier who's probably going to kill a Africa Corps soldier who's lying on the floor, or is just waiting to pounce on an Africa Corps soldier behind some wall or something. We have a soldier running with a Lee Enfield rifle with a fixed bayonet. We have a soldier with a Lee Enfield rifle, which I'm going to use as a sniper. So you get about 4 of them. You get 2 soldiers with binoculars. So I think they'll be part of the machine gun team. So yeah, you get 2 machine gun teams. You get 2 of them, so that will work pretty well. You have a soldier lying down with a Bren machine gun, which is actually really nice. Because you need some soldiers with Bren machine guns to support you. You got some soldiers with a Lee Enfield rifle. Yeah, Lee Enfield rifle. You got a soldier running with a Lee Enfield rifle here. You got a soldier who's marching with a Lee Enfield rifle, metal detector guy, the metal detector minesweeper soldier, and you got the sergeant. And you get about 2 soldiers with the I think Vickers machine gun. Yeah, so you have to fix the Vickers machine gun, so it's like the Matchbox, the ex-Matchbox Revel 8th Army soldiers. So yeah, you get 2 figures with that, and a machine gun. So it's pretty good for value. So the painting I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint some Humbrol 103. Then their uniform, then their gear and belts and webbing is gonna be Humbrol 90. So because that's how I paint my British infantry, my British paratroopers, how I painted my Revel / X Matchbox 8th Army soldiers. So yeah, it's actually really worth it for about $4.99. Okay, so a kit that I've always wanted to get because I've already built it, and this time I wanted it in my North African campaign, is this kit. This is the Airfix Vintage Classic Pack 40 gun and truck, so the truck's the Opel Blitz. The reason why I bought this kit was because my Africa Corps needed some artillery, so I bought this Pack 40, and it was actually really easy to build, as well as this truck. But also, it has the this North African scheme. I've already built it in the European scheme, but now I want to paint it in the North African scheme, and it looks really nice. So the kit's molding was made in the 1980s, and this box art was illustrated by Ken McDonough in 1980. So this first ever kit was released in the 1980s, and it's kind of a bit recent than the other kits I have down below here. So yeah, the kit also comes with figurines for some servants for the Pack 40, which is actually really sick. And you also get a driver for the Opel Blitz, which is extremely cool. The way I'm going to paint it is I'm going to paint it as Humbrol 103 all the way round, and then this canvas here I'm going to paint it Humbrol 83 ochre. The rims here I'm going to paint it Humbrol 64 light grey, because that's what it's advised on the instructions. So yeah, you have two options with this truck. You can have it opened. You can have an open back or the closed back. I like the Opel Blitz with the closed back because it makes it look really like it looks as if it's like a cargo truck or troop carrier just covered. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is on the page right now. Thank you for watching, and peace.